Hello, we're back with Barbara Costello, and the title of this series is What a Life, because it was and it is what a life Barbara is enjoying and has enjoyed for many years, although she's a lot younger to imply many years, but okay, we're going with that. Or else I'll be in big trouble.
Yeah.
Barbara, we met through Greg,
Yes.
your son,
Yes.
my doctor, one of my
Yes,
doctors.
and we just hit it off.
We really did. We really
I
did.
mean, he's the best friend I can have.
And he's such a good friend to us.
You.
Both of us.
Not my Greg.
Oh,
You're my best friend.
And how do you introduce me at your parties?
My friend.
The priest?
The priest. My friend the priest.
My friend the priest.
No, the happy priest.
I know, that's exactly
You're always happy. You make me happy. That's what I can say. God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Didn't know Al, your husband, but would he have liked
Yeah.
me?
Oh, he loved you. Yeah.
That's great.
I liked anybody that was just normal and happy. Al was never, he was never highfalutin. You know, as he got up there in his business world, I used to say to him, Al, you got to act different. You're up there and you go on the, you're with all these important people and you just act like normal, normal. I remember he would always have his coat unbuttoned. And I said, Al, when he'd give his speeches, I said, look at how everybody else has their coat buttoned up and you got to go up there unbuttoned,
So
Al was just normal. His best friend as he got up there would be the driver that drove him. He never looked at what people were or what they did. He always took people for what they were. And I have a cleaning woman in New Jersey who worked for me, and to this day she still misses him and thinks how wonderful he was.
Wow, that's
yes,
great.
she still does.
Okay, we talked a little bit about Al. Where did you meet? How did all that come together?
Well, as I told you the story before, I met him in New York at an Italian dance.
Yeah.
That's how I met him.
And you still like dancing, by the way, right?
Oh, I always loved dancing and doing art. I'm also an artist.
Beautiful.
Yes,
too,
and
as well.
that was my big love. And I did art since I was a little girl. I used to always carry it around with
Isn't
me.
that great?
Took it up in high school, but I never thought I was good enough because my brother's friend said that I should be, go to art school. But I didn't have an imagination, so I never thought that I could be an artist like that. But I always drew. And if it wasn't for Al pushing me, that's why when I signed my canvas, I always signed B.A. Costello, B for Barbara, A for Antolotti, where I got my talents, and for Costello for Al, for
Isn't
pushing
that
me. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. What was he like, his personality?
Well, he was,
Well, you know what? Start in the beginning. Start when you first met and got
well,
married.
Al was never, I met Al when he was about 17, going to college. He was a junior at Fordham University.
Okay.
But it was nothing. I was from Brooklyn and he was from New York, so I only saw him at the dances, so I really didn't know him that well,
Right.
And maybe he was in his second year of college when I first met him. I started dating him when he was in his junior year of college. And but there was, he was a nice looking guy. He had, black curly hair, and he had one little gray streak, and he had dark brown eyes. He was about 6 foot, like that.
Wow.
He was nice. He was nice, typical. But I mean, he smoked, he drank. He was a typical, played football, played basketball, and everything like that. When I met him, he was a little chunky, and he used to keep his baseball cap in the back of his pocket. He was just like a typical. He lived in the tenement houses on 62nd Street,
Wow.
where the bathroom was in the hall and stuff like that. That's how he grew up. And his grandmother lived next door. Lena raised 3 children in 3 rooms.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Greg talks about that grandmother going to that area.
Yeah, they lived on 62nd Street in the tenement houses there, and his grandmother, Mal's parents lived on one side, and his grandparents lived on the other side, and down the hall was other people like that.
Mm.
And Lena lived in the same house that she was raised in, and she had 2 sisters and a brother, 3 sisters and a brother.
Bless her.
The mother raised them that way.
So you would come from Brooklyn to visit him?
Oh, I didn't come for many years. I didn't come until Al graduated college. and that was the first time I went over to Lena's house. Al had just graduated for him that day, and then Al invited me to come over to meet his parents for the first time. And I was not a forward girl. I was shy or something. So, and I always we always had our own home, and even brownstone, but we had our own bedrooms and plenty of room and everything.
Right.
So they lived on the sixth floor walk up.
Whoa.
Oh my God, that was really some walk up. So I remember when I walked in, I remember what I had, and I was amazed. I just sat there on one side of the sofa. I didn't move because you couldn't even move. It was just small little room, and there was the kitchen. You walked into the kitchen, which was a small, and then you walked into another room, and that was where her living room was. And when she pulled down the sofas and the beds, that's where all the kids slept. And in the back room was a little bathroom and Lena and John's room. So,
Wow.
and I was amazed. I was just sat there with eyes open. I said, "Oh my God, how did she do this?
Yeah.
How did she do this?"
And he just graduated college.
Just try to.
And probably worked his way
And
through
that was
college.
the first time I met Lena.
Okay.
Yeah, and Al used to be a chat check guy in the Cosmopolitan Club where I go dancing.
hat check?
Yes, he used to hat
Really?
check and doorman, and he used to use that money to take me out on dances. And he used to take me to beautiful places. He used to go see the bands in New York and everything, And I remember his father used to get so mad at him. He said, "Look at the way you wrinkle up your money. You don't take care of it." He says, "I give you money and it's always down." He used to gamble on the streets. He used to gamble on play cards and stuff.
Yeah.
And his father was so strict. We'd get so mad at him. "Look at you gambling and everything." And then he would go to the bar and drink. And oh my God, his father would yell at him. He adored his father.
That's great.
Because his father, he said his father used to teach him. When he went to Italy, when he went to school, he couldn't speak English because his father taught him Italian.
Oh, really? Al couldn't speak English?
No, couldn't
Isn't
speak it.
that fascinating?
And the nun said to him, "Shame on you, an American boy like you, and you can't speak English."
Right. Prejudice
Yeah,
was
they
alive
were-
and well
yes,
even then.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that
The
amazing?
nuns.
So your relationship continued, and when do you think it developed and flowered?
When it flowered, it must have. It's well. By then we were starting to get together because then I went to the prom with him. So we were. That was when we were starting to get. We were
Serious.
getting to get serious. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
At that time, when I met his mother and father, that time we were. Yeah. Because
That's
I was
great.
going already 2 years with him or something.
Oh,
and I never
right,
met
right,
his
right,
parents.
Right.
And now I was starting to I met his parents for the first time.
And where were you married?
We were married at Queen of All Saints in Brooklyn, New York. And we had our reception in here in New York.
Right. Was that a foreign trip from Brooklyn to New York?
Well, not really. Because my parents had the restaurant in New York, so we would go back and forth to New York. I remember Al and we walked across the Brooklyn Bridge, and on one of our dates, we went. And the funny part is, I did a painting of the bridge connecting New York with Brooklyn with New York, and he had it in his office, and he used to always say that's how we got connected.
Isn't that beautiful? And that bridge connected the two of you, isn't in more ways than one? That's great. And when you married, where did you move to?
Then when we married, we moved to New Jersey, which we both took me 9 years to get used to living in New Jersey. Literally,
Why?
I didn't like New Jersey.
Too many trees?
Too many trees, too quiet for me. I remember when I came to New Jersey, and growing up in Brooklyn, my mother's friends used to call them by their first names.
Sure.
Well, when I went to live in New Jersey, now I'm a young girl. I just got married. I was young. And they're calling me Mrs. And I'm saying, what are they calling me Mrs.? Like I was an old lady, There was so many different habits.
Yeah.
So completely different from living in the city.
Right,
They
right.
never go to the city because that's far for them to go to New York. And my family would never come to New Jersey. That was like going to Mexico, which eventually I did go to live in. Because nobody came to visit you in New Jersey. Forget it.
That's great.
We had to go to Brooklyn and New York all the time.
Fascinating.
We did all the time.
I bet. When you mentioned Mexico, when you were married, his job obviously.
Yes, his job as he
important.
moved up. Married to my husband was never. I never wanted to leave Brooklyn. I never wanted to travel. When we went to our honeymoon, we went to Bermuda, and we were supposed to stay 2 weeks. And I, I said, after a week, I want to go home.
Really?
I want to go home.
Oh no!
I said to him, I want to go home. And he says to me, Barbara, if we go home, we lose a whole week, security, we won't get our money back.
Yeah.
I want to go home. He took me home. So my son said to me, my son Peter said, boy, Mom, you were really spoiled. He had patience with you. He really did, I tell you. He really and truly did. So that was the beginning of it. And so then he took me around the world, which I never thought I would leave Brooklyn. So.
He showed you.
Yeah,
So
he took,
where?
we never had a dull moment. So even like when we got married, we lived in Plainfield, New Jersey, our first place. We only landed living there for 6 months because then he got drafted into the Army.
Okay.
And then from there we went to Kentucky. I went with him. That's why I said I went with him as a private. Sure. We didn't have any money, and I went with him, and we went to Louisville, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And we lived there for we stayed there about 6 months, and he was in the chemical corps. Okay. But Al was an organic chemist. He was not a biochemist.
Okay.
And he was working at Fort Knox as a biochemist, and he didn't like that at all. So he said to his sergeant, he said, I'm not a biochemist, I'm an organic chemist. Why is you keeping me here? So he said, if you don't like it, write to the adjutant general. Oh. So one night he called me up from post. He said, Barbara, I'm writing to the adjutant general. So he wrote to the adjutant general. So then what happens is then the sergeant, Al Costello, come here. Oh. He said, who told you to write to the adjutant general? He said, well, you told me. Yeah. He had transferred to Toledo, Ohio.
Oh
in the
my!
Rossford Ordnance Depot.
Wow!
As an organic chemist.
Great. So and you went with him.
We went there. Now you think I hated New Jersey? I hated Toledo. Toledo was the worst place in the world for me. But he loved Toledo because in Toledo he learned how to play golf. Oh. And Al loved golf until the day he died, which he died on a golf course.
Yes, I remember
He loved golf. And that's where he learned. He loved fishing. He loved hunting. Now, me, forget about it. Picnic. And we had to live off post in these little houses, and there was nobody around. Was it lonely? It was so lonely.
Oh, that's awful.
I didn't want to leave Brooklyn. Here I am in Toledo.
I don't even know where Toledo is.
They pulled the streets in at 6 o'clock. I could tell you we had no money, and it would take 50 cents to get the bus to take me into the town center of Toledo.
Right.
So I decided, what am I going to do? I only have 50 cents now. Should I drive it in, take the bus, or should I walk it back? Which way?
Wow.
I don't know why. I guess I wanted to get there fast. I always took the bus, and I ended up walking back. I always did. That was my whole excitement.
Well, that was the excitement for the.
That was exciting.
The experience of
yes.
Toledo.
We lived in the Rossford Ordnance Depot, and then on weekends I would come home in the wintertime and work in the restaurant as a check girl to save some money.
Dad's restaurant?
Yeah, my mother and father's restaurant on 49th Street.
Okay.
On Antolotti's, yes.
That's the one near the UN?
Yes.
That's great. That grew.
It grew. At first, when they opened it up, my father opened it up. It only sat 65 people, and in the heyday, it set up to 250 people.
Wow!
And then all the movie stars and everyone used to come.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, Truman Capote, Paul Newman, Mickey Mantle, Anthony Quinn. Oh my, Jackie Gleason. Name them.
That's fantastic. And you met them all.
No, I never met them all because that was I only worked there for a short time, and then when Al got out of the Army, we moved back to New Jersey.
You say it with such disdain.
Yeah, we moved to New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
I lived all over Jersey, I tell you.
Yeah, and you didn't like it.
No, and then I got a job in Arnold Constables, and then I got a job. Oh, it was interesting. I worked in Triangle Conduit and Cable for a whole year in the traffic department. Don't ask me how I got that. And I didn't know what I was doing. They must have liked me for some reason for a whole year. Traffic department in Triangle Conduit and Cable. And then I finally got them to lay me off, and I collected, and then I worked for Arnold Constables before I had children.
Wow, that's great.
So we always doing something.
And where were your children born?
well, my Gregory was born. My first son was born in New York City, and my other two children were born in New Jersey.
Okay.
In
So Greg is authentically New York.
Gregory's my only New Yorker.
Through and through.
He is a New Yorker like his mom and dad. Yes.
When and after you had the children, you're still in Jersey. Did you move around with them?
Oh my God! Yes, we moved. Yes, we moved. Then from Wayne.
I told you this story is exciting.
Yes, we moved when we moved from New Brunswick to Wayne into Garden Apartments.
Okay.
Then I was pregnant with Peter, so now we had a 2-bedroom, and I said, Al, we're married 9 years. I said, do you think we could buy a house now? You know, so he said, all right, as long as it's the same amount of money that we're paying rent.
Oh wow.
So we had to look around, and I found one, and that was in Oakland, New Jersey.
Okay.
And I loved Oakland, and Oakland had to have a sidewalk, so I could walk into the town. And
Good,
Oakland had
good.
a street that I could walk into
That's
town.
great. That's
I
great.
loved living in Oakland. That was, of all the homes, that was one of my favorite ones. Even though it was a little house.
Yeah, yeah.
And then from there, he got it was advancement in a job. We were married 15 years now, and they said, "Oh, do you want to go live overseas?" You know. And my aunt said, "You know, your husband's saying he can live overseas." I said, "Aunt Jean, don't pay attention to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about."
Oops.
She said, "No." So then one day, well, to make a long story short, when we came back from living in the Army, they asked, he said to me, "Barbara, how would you like to go live in Cleveland?" Cleveland? I said, "Are you crazy?" I said, "No." Little did I know that they were offering him a job in Cleveland, but he
Oh.
never told me. So they demoted him. He was in a sales
So
program.
he rejected it because you didn't want to go?
Yeah, he rejected it. He didn't tell me. He
Wow.
didn't tell me.
Oh.
But he was going for a master's degree in chemistry.
Okay.
And they were going to promote him and send him to Cleveland. So yeah, and I said, I'm not going to Cleveland. So, but he didn't tell me that had to do job related. So they demoted him and they put him back in the laboratories.
Ooh.
So, but he was never mad about it. No,
Good.
never. No, never.
So we're going to
But
leave
then-
off at Cleveland because I know you go overseas eventually. So I think the stories are fascinating. This is Father Louis Skirty with Barbara Costello. We're landing in Cleveland right now, and we're going to fly overseas. Tune in for the next section. This is Father Louis Skirty, and I'd like to hear from you, Father Louis Skirty at hotmail.com. God bless you very much. And thank you, Barbara, for having us.
Do you think they're really going to look and listen to me?
Yes.
I can't believe